So I'm going to give you an idea of where we are now. In the next few slides, I'll give you a macro to micro perspective of things, of where we are in terms of Philippine design. In front of me is the Global Competitiveness, it's a long word, report of the World Economic Forum. The competitive index measures the level of productivity and innovation of a country. So in this index, there are 12 parts, and the last two parts are business sophistication and innovation. The Philippines in that part scores 3.38. We are number 75 out of 139 countries. Before us is Lebanon, and after us is Pakistan. Japan is number 1 at 5.72. And then there's another slide, if I can get us there. The top 25 country brands. Future Brand is a leading brand consultancy organization that commands a global presence in 24 countries worldwide. And it says that country brand strength is a nation's ultimate intangible asset. An intangible asset is something you can make money from that you can't really grasp, that's hard to quantify. And it says that intangible assets go beyond geographic size, financial performance, or levels of awareness. Managed properly, it can be a lasting vehicle for goodwill, encouraging forgiveness in difficult times, like that's what happened last year, and disproportionately boosting the value of exports for those here who manufacture furniture and decor. From people to products to entire corporations. So our ranking, we're not even in the, let me get us there. We're not even in the top 25, but if you look at the records, we are number 65 out of 139 or so. And then we have Canada, which is the number 1 country brand, followed by Australia. Maybe people want to live there. And then Mexico, which is a country which is fairly culturally similar to the Philippines. And then we have the Philippines after Malta at 64, and Hungary at 66. So our ranking in terms of being a brand as a country is number 65. Now, you know, there's also the International Design Scoreboard by the British Design Council, and it's a framework for ranking nations that visualize national design competency or capability. But Brian, di ba sabi mo design was intangible? You can't hold it, you can't quantify design. But you know what, you can really. How do you do this? You measure the total investment the government makes on promotion and promoting design and supporting it. You get the number of graduates graduating design courses. You get the number of patents we produce, or the number of design firms, and the largeness and the size of the design sector. And what you see here in front of you are relative numbers. Apparently, the Philippines is not in the published report, so we're not in the 12. But in any case, maybe in a few years. I hope. The interesting news is that we always see this on the internet. Philippines is one of the happiest places in the world. The Happy Planet Index doesn't reveal what's in front of you is the Happy Planet Index. It does not reveal the happiest country. It's not about the happiest countries being green and the worst off being red. What it does is it relates happiness and ecological sustainability. So what happens is the happiness index really says how efficient we are as a country with converting our natural resources to making us have happy lives. So when nature's happy, we are happy, we have a large happy index. The Philippines is in the middle. We're a bit darker than China. I think fairly darker than Thailand, India, and Pakistan. The United States is an interesting red. And so is Tokyo and Japan, darker than us a bit. This was from 2010. So what happens? Now I want you to clear your minds a bit. We're going to do a small exercise. Let's do this simple exercise with Google search. When you want to Google information or you want to look for someone you want to know more about, you search for the images about them. Let's say we're going to a country named China. So we go to China, and the first set of Google images that we have are flags, maps, and structures, yeah? So these are the things people who Google China see, or these are what people Google about or post about when they think of China. When they think of Mexico, culturally similar to the Philippines, this is what you find. A lot of maps, a lot of cities. I don't see any person there. Then you wonder what's coming up with the Philippines, yeah? Mexico, sorry. And then we have another one that's somewhat adjacent to the Philippines, Thailand. And you see a lot of tourist areas. I do see a person there. I don't see sports. I see a flag and maybe some beaches, but none of cities, yeah? And then the United States, a lot of maps, a lot of flags, occasional Miss USA. And then I'm not going to show the Philippines because you know what? We're going to have that on the next slide after. But you know, after doing a macro idea or macro survey of where we are, I had to do a micro one. And that's when I met Sally. She's not a person. She's not on my Facebook. In any case, I call this my design travels. In the last few months, what I've done is I visited the design centers in New York to the Design Promotions Office of Korea. This is the one in Korea. Let's see if it works. There you go. And these are some friends from New York. And these are the Korean friends too. And this is us presenting at the Met. And I traveled to Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I visited factories, manufacturing facilities, small, medium-sized enterprises, local OTOP offices, one town, one product, and schools. I met with designers from business, tech, the LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender sector, eco-design, and young designers. I wanted to see personally what was happening in the world of design in the Philippines and not just in Manila. So this is an interesting story over here. The road going to this farm was around 3 times the width of this platform, of this podium. And I was riding behind this guy who was driving a motorcycle. And on my side was a concrete wall. On my left was barbed wire, was a fence of barbed wire. It was fairly interesting because I was praying the whole time. I didn't want my face in barbed wire. But eventually, once we got to the middle of that farm, which was fantastically beautiful, there was this house. And in that house was a weaving facility, and apparently, it was one of the best weaving facilities in Naga, fairly the size of the lower floor of my house. Not the largest, but very interesting. I interviewed designers and creatives and craftsmen, and even manangs and manongs who do the final stitch on those shoes made in Marikina. It was a lot of fun, but more importantly, it was an eye-opener of sorts. And it gave me a fantastic and holistic and very useful insight of how Filipinos are with design and what we can do for Philippine design. Should I point again? Well, you can see everyone else.